and welcome back to another episode of OHKO, a Pokemon VGC podcast. Apologies for no podcast last week. Something came up, but we'll make it up to you because we got a special doubleheader for today's episode. First up, we have Pengy, Monterey Regional Champion, to talk all about the win. Later on, we'll get to talk to James, finalist at the World Championship. So a lot to dive into today. So glad you're here. First off, Pengy, thank you for joining us. Recent regional champion. That's crazy. How's that feel?
Good. I always love being on the podcast, so thanks for the invite. I think this is my 4th time on OHKO. It's always a good time. Y'all are great. But yeah, it feels very different. I talked a little bit about indie on my last episode with Joe, but like this one feels a lot different because like I actually understand how hard it is to win a regional now. Like if you watch the interviews that I did during like the indie run, it's very like, oh yeah, this is fun. I'm having a good time. Like came out of indie. It was like maybe my 6th tournament or something. So like I came out of indie. I'm like, wow, this is easy. I can't wait to win 20 more. And now it's 3.5 years later, and we're on 2. Yay! But it was really it was interesting because like there are a lot of different sort of levels of sort of stress to get past. Like the first level is my team is really dumb. One of the things I'm really proud of last season is that I built all of my own teams. I made a lot of really unique meta calls, and I think that every team I built was a correct and good meta call. I don't think I missed at all last year. There was one team that was like a little weaker, but the other people that I gave the team did really well with it, so I don't think it was a team issue. So like Worlds, I brought Raichu. My Worlds team was like really weird, but I also felt like my Worlds team was really, really good. I lost to the volatility of Reg I instead of like my team was bad, and like the Raichu was really good, did its job well. So like fundamentally, the most important thing is that I did trust my building with the team, and I did trust that the team was going to be really, really good. It's based on the core concept of a team that I got day 2 in at LAIC in Sacramento in like the first Reg H. So like I did have a lot of faith in the team to do well, but at the same time, going into an event with a team like that, there's always sort of that sort of imposter adjacent feeling of like, I could just go 0-3 and look really, really dumb here. Like this is really stupid. Like to the point where we didn't have open team sheets. There's no stream. I think like I remember Marcus. Like, Nishant was telling me that Marcus was asking people what I was using and did not believe them because it was too stupid. So, that's sort of the first level. And then, of course, like, you know, the day was going really well. My schedule was actually, like, pretty hard as, well, I was at XO, so, like, obviously it's going to be harder. But, like, a lot of people, I think, underestimated how strong the regional was going to be. We had, like, 45 Americans show up. It was kind of crazy. Like, there were really, really good players there. I played a lot of really, really good players. And then sort of going into day 2, it's like, you know, you go into day 2, it's like, I'm 7-1. I need 1 win to guarantee money, because my res was, like, obscene. And then I needed 2 to guarantee cut. So, win the first one, then it's like, that's the next layer. I'm like, oh, I'd really like to make my money back for this trip. Like, one more, get the money back. Win that one. And then I'm playing Justin. And it's like, the additional context for that match is, there were only 9 people in cut. So if I beat Justin, I would guarantee cut, which also guarantees top 8. And I have not top 8 in an event since Indy. I've been really hard stuck at top 16 to the point where, like, I don't know if you remember this, Sierra, but, like, you pulled my win in for cut in Sacramento 23 when you were hosting, when I played Riley. And I told you backstage, I was like, because I started 1-2 at that event as well. I told you backstage, I was like, yeah, if I win this, I might cry. And when I was playing Justin, like, in game 3, I hard called him on leads. Like, I just kind of, like, destroyed him in the first set in game 3. But it was, like, kind of an extended death animation where it was, like, a 4 or 5 turn thing for it to, like, actually become 100%, where he was fishing for, like, a crit here, like, something here. Like, he had ways out of it. But, like, as that was, like, going on, I started getting, like, a little bit emotional because I was like, oh my god, I'm, like, actually, like, we did it. We're like, past top 16. Yay. And then the next one is like, oh, I really want another medal. Like now I need a medal.
Is the
Like,
one more
You know,
step?
just one more. Like I just need a medal. And then after that, it was just really chill because I was like, all right, I got my medal. I'm playing Justin in top 4. I already played Justin. Matchup is like favorable for me, but like really uncomfortable. It's like really weird for both sides. So I'm like, whatever. Didn't really feel all that stressed in that match. And then I like in the finals, I had to play against the single absolute worst matchup that I wrote off as an auto loss. So I had no pressure in that as well. I'm just like, okay, cool. Like I'll do my best, and that it just kind of worked. So yeah, overall, I felt really, really good. It feels really nice coming out of that as well because like obviously after like a long period of not having won anything, it's nice to win again. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I'd like to win a bigger event because obviously the Mexico ones are not the same as winning. I'll go win Pittsburgh next week. But like, you know, like winning Pittsburgh is like a bigger deal than winning Monterey, but it's still really nice. Feels really good. And it feels really cool to do it with that team. It feels really cool to win a regional with Sylveon for personal reasons. So yeah, like overall, a lot of really, really cool things. I'm really, really happy with it.
It's because I'm such a big Sylveon fan. I get it.
I know, of course it is.
Yeah,
it's all for you, Joe. Everything I do is for you.
Listen, I want to say I am so proud of you for this win. When I saw, now there was no stream, right? So we had to just get updates through Twitter. But when I saw you won, I was over the moon because I know you and we have talked before about how badly you want that next victory. And you don't want to be, you know, just the Indianapolis champion and just that one win. And it took all this time, so I really do wonder. Like, I'm so happy that we got to cross off a second regional championship on your resume. And looking at comparing the two events, right? One is, you know, one you're out here Dynamaxing Incineroar for the giggles of it. The other one, you're in Monterey against 45 Americans and a lot of great players. And, you know, Scarlet and Violet's a really a very intense era of VGC to be playing right now, where it feels like anybody can show up and win. And I wonder, like, the differences in your head between these two regional championships, like not necessarily which matters more to you, because obviously, like, you know, that I guess that could change on a whim depending on which one means more. But like, talk to me about just how different these two runs from Indianapolis regional champion to Monterey regional champion are.
I think a lot of the difference is not really just, it's not even the tournaments that are different so much as like I was so new at Indy that I just didn't really know who a lot of the people I was playing against were. Like, I played Jeremy Rodriguez in finals. I didn't know who he was. Like, I didn't know that he was, like, one of the better old heads who had won, like, an Internats, I think, and, like, several regionals. Like, I just didn't know that. So I'm like, like, I played Dewobblefett twice. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I'm just playing Mons. So I think that kind of took away from the pressure a little bit. And then here, like, I'm just in a very different place in the community here as well, where it's like, you know, I know all these people, they also know me, they know, like, interestingly enough, I actually haven't really played against these players a lot. Like, I don't think I played Justin at Worlds once. I don't think I've ever played Justin other than that in a major. I played Marcus like 2 years ago, but I haven't played Marcus since then. Never played Willie. I also, like, I've never played Brandon. I've never played Len. So, like, there wasn't really an experience of like all these people know how I play, they know my tendencies or anything, but there's still sort of that added weight of like I know how good all of these people are, and like that kind of like makes it more rewarding in the moment as I'm like kind of going through the bracket, because I know how good these people are. So like even the Mexican guys, I went to Monterey last time, I'm like friends with a couple of the Mexican players, so like I know how good players like Conseco, who I played in the finals, I know how good he is. I know how good Nathan is, who I played in like round 11 for the win. And like I know a lot more about how good each of these individual players are that maybe a lot of the broader community don't know. That like kind of it builds you up a little bit more as you're going through the tournament, because you're not just winning against like guy number 6. You're like, oh, I beat that guy. Like, awesome. I'm like, that's a nice little confidence booster.
Yeah, there are so many different ways to like talk about this event, because there's so many things to ask you. So obviously the pressure of going into the event with being more well known, obviously the pressure of trying to get another medal, etc. But I think where I want to start is the team, because that has been the biggest point of discussion, I think, absolutely everywhere, is this team.
Why?
So for those of you who didn't check Twitter or didn't see anything, we have Incineroar. Okay. Golden Go. Yeah, checks out. You got Lowland Ninetales. Yeah, that's used in this meta. Then we have Garganackle. Okay, we've seen that before. Sylveon,
Mainly
as you
from
said.
Stefan, we've seen the Garganackle.
Also true. Also true. We get Sylveon. Okay, that's a little funky. And then we get a Scyther. And you had said that Marcus was asking around about your team and didn't believe people. I can attest to the fact that nobody believed that you were actually on this team because I was sitting in a big group chat just watching games and playing games with people. And every time somebody would join the chat, they'd be like, "What is Stefan running?" And someone's like, "Oh yeah, Scyther Sylveon." And they're like, "No." that was just it. They're like, "No." They're like, "That's not it." And it was just like, "Not really." And they're like, "No." They just didn't believe it. And then the next person would join and the same conversation would happen. And it was finally something was posted on Twitter or somebody was streaming the game or something. Yeah. And then it was wait a second, you guys weren't all BSing. This is actually real. So got to talk about your team because I mean, this is the second time we're having this regulation. Obviously, this was a regulation that had that room for exploration, but at the same time, the second time around you go about a regulation, I don't know how much room you can get for additional creativity, and you definitely broke the mold with this one. So I want to know how you even start to land on this team and a decision to go so against the grain with literally everything here.
So this is we are limited on time, so I'm just going to this is part 2 of if you want the prequel, people viewing, go watch the team report I did on YouTube. This is pause, go do that now, and then we'll come back, and I will assume that you have watched this required viewing. I'll give a very, very quick rundown. My friend Ethan and I thought that Sneasler Dozo was the best combo in the entire format. I know neither of those are on this team. We'll get there. Sneasler Dozo was the best combo in the entire format, so we wanted to build around that, and we had 30 different iterations. We finally added Garganackle. We realized that Sneasler Dozo was kind of becoming... It's still really, really good, but it was being phased out a little bit with Scale Shot Dragonite coming up, so we kind of pivoted it from being a Sneasler Dozo team with a Garganackle mode to a Garganackle team with a Sneasler Dozo mode, blah, 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 blah. Sneasler Dozo is really bad now because Haze Dragonite is really, really common. So we were running Curse Dozo coaching Sneasler. Haze Dragonite basically makes that useless. So Dozo was functionally operating as a water type Yawn bot that did nothing else because that was the other move it was running. We were not using Setup Dozo for anything. It's not good into anything anymore. So the first step was removing the Dozo. So we're like, all right, the Dozo's not doing anything. What can we do here? The Sneasler was a little more awkward because the Sneasler was an incredibly good piece on the team. Dire Claw is amazing on a team that's extending games. You could just win the game immediately with a poison because a poison will cut down the number of Salt Cure ticks you need substantially. Sleep is obviously really good. Anything you can get off the Sneasler is really, really good. So initially, we're like, all right, the Dozo goes, the Sneasler stays. So we dropped coaching on the Sneasler. There was Drain Punch on the Incineroar. I know, we're just going to gloss over that. That was removed as well because we removed coaching, so Drain Punch wasn't good anymore. So basically, we got into this position where I was trying out various things in the Dozo slot, where initially I was like, all right, I really like Gastrodon here. It's still a bulky water. Basculegion's really common. I make Rain super, super free. I can click Muddy Water, which is just really, really good. It does just enough damage. It did 25 to Golden Go on a neutral hit, where I'm like, that's what I want out of this. That's it's doing a salt cure ticks worth of damage. If I get accuracy drops, that's awesome. Ground coverage is awesome. But the issue that we were running into was it Mouse Ape was annoying. Ape in general was really annoying, especially the Taunt Final Gambit variants, which was already kind of annoying at the end of the format. And I'm like, all right, this is the Gastro doesn't help into that. It's not really doing anything here. So I tried out a lot of different things in that slot, and I realized that the issue was that the Sneasler wasn't doing anything into that. The Sneasler was making matchups that we were already winning more one-sided. So the phrase, the terminology that I like to use for that is it's a win more Pokemon. It's not winning me things that I'm not already winning. It is just winning other things more. And I don't need to win harder. I just need to win. So the hardest thing that I needed to make peace with was this Sneasler, which is the second best Pokemon on this team, is causing me to be built into a corner where I cannot cover for all my matchups. So I have to lose the Sneasler. And what I needed from the remaining 2 slots was I needed, or like really from the 1 slot, was I needed something that checked Mousehold, something that checked Annihilate, something that was good into Psy Spam, like the Indeedee, any Psy Spam really, but specifically Indeedee Sneasler, something that was good into Sinistra, and something that was good as a part of my fast mode. So that is a lot of things that you need. That is so many things that you need, and I spent, over 2 days, I spent 7 hours just looking at things in the builder and just staring at calcs and being like, this doesn't get there, this doesn't get there. Salamence, nope, that doesn't get there. Like, all right, like Talonflame with Brave Bird, no, because like there's a bunch, because it can't attack on psychic terrain, so like that doesn't help. It also doesn't kill through Sash for the Sash Annihilates. I was looking at so many random things for this slot where we were just like, I can't figure out what actually gets me there. And about 7 hours into this process on day 2, I realized that Scyther is all of those things. Which is dumb, but in very short, Adamant Scyther hits 157 speed stat. Jolly Annihilate hits 156. It outspeeds Annihilate by 1. It one-shots Annihilate with dual wing beat. It, like, you know, if it has a citrus berry, it gets a little bit tight, but, like, that's not all that relevant. It one-shots Annihilate, it one-shots Mousehold, it one-shots Indeedee, it one-shots Sneasler, it one-shots Sinistra. Like, you have really, really good coverage in, like, you have fast pivoting, which is really nice into, like, rain teams. It's really good into sun teams. It's, like, CC's pretty weak on it, honestly, because it's non-stab, and obviously it doesn't get a Technician boost, but it's still super effective damage into, like, Incin or Archaludon, like, you're, like, Ursaluna. Like, you're still able to hit these things for super effective damage, which is really, really good. Scyther gets a lot of random things in its kit, so I know a lot of people were theorying, like, oh, there's a Scyther. Like, I bet it ran Fate and Tailwind. It's like, no, it just hits things really hard. And, Dual Wing Beat, or, Technician with Dual Wing Beat essentially already acts as, like, a damage-boosting item without consuming your item slot. So you're free to run Eviolite, which allows it to just be ridiculously tanky. Because, like, the defensive typing is actually not even, I was gonna say it's a pretty bad defensive typing, but it's really not for this format. Double weak to rock is not great. Weak to like, you're weak to ice, but the ice attackers aren't that strong. It's like A-Tails. Like, Bax is not, like, Baxcalibur's not doing anything into this team anyway, so I don't really care about that. So, like, the defensive typing's not that bad, and then its base defenses are 80 and 80. So, like, comparing that to Porygon 2, whose base defenses are 90 and 95, it's like, it's not as bulky as Porygon 2. But if you take Porygon 2 as your barometer and realize that it's like it gets moderately close on an offensive Pokemon, that's kind of crazy. Like, the thing is really good. The thing that I was telling people as, like, the example of how good it is, I lost more than half of my game losses were because I missed Dual Wing Beat on the deciding turn, and it was still the second best Pokemon on my team.
I was literally going to ask, how many times did you miss Dual Wing Beat?
A lot. I did not have 90% accuracy on my Dual Wing Beat. I probably had about 83. It was not good, but I mean, he's so broken, it doesn't matter.
I think 90% accurate moves are a lie. I think 90% accurate are maybe, like, the most inaccurate in the game. Like, they're not 90%. Like, 95 is 95, 80 is 80, 85 is 85, 90 is
90's
like
a lie.
40.
90 is absolutely a lie.
Yeah, 100%. I just love this team. I love, it's so funny to me that you were the go ahead, yeah.
I just realized we only covered one slot. We didn't cover the Sylveon slot yet.
Oh, go for it.
So, I'm gonna let you in on a secret here, okay? Sylveon's really bad on this team. It's so dog.
I was gonna ask,
oh
bro.
My god!
I was literally gonna ask.
Literally nothing for the entire tournament, and then it MVP'd finals. It did MVP finals, but so we get through the Scyther. We figure out the Scyther. And I'm like, okay, Scyther, Gastrodon, we're gaming. And then I'm going into my last-minute matchup prep, and I'm like, how do I win against King Gambit? This is not good. Like, Electabuzz, King Gambit with, like, black glasses? Why am I losing all of them? Like, well, not all. Like, I was winning on ladder, and then I went into customs with, like, Olivia and Carrie, who are really good Gambit players, and I'm like, oh no, this is not good. This is very bad. So we're looking at that, and I'm like, I really like the yawn spam, but like the most important, like it's really like maybe yawn is win more as well. Like I'm mostly using it into like poorly constructed teams where I can just like, get really good momentum and win. What else can I put in that slot? It needs to answer like the King Gambit stuff. So we're looking at it, and I'm like, okay, offensive for Rigorath. Let's go. That's maybe Terra fighting by like Terra Blast. That'll no, that's awful. Terrible idea. I'm like, okay. But what if we made it a Chestnut? Like Chestnut, surely. We got so in the weeds with this. Like we got so deep down the rabbit hole that I am looking at a paste right now. It's called Somehow Steve Returned version 5.2. And the 6th slot on this team is a Levitate Galarian Weezing with Haze.
Let's go.
Because, like, we're looking at it, we're like, okay, but it walls the Gambit, and it can't be hit by like, Ursaluna, by Terra Steel, and it can't be hit by Dragonite. Like, surely this is kind of... No, it's so bad. So, eventually, we now have run out of time. And I'm like, okay, like we're just gonna put a Sylveon there. I can 2-hit KO like King Gambit with +1 Hyper Voice. We're gonna go Yawn, Throat Spray, Sylveon, and I'm just gonna punt the Volcarona matchup. Like I win against the Gambits, I lose against the Volcaronas. I like Covert Cloak Volcarona, I can't win. Whatever. Like we're gonna go like it's fine. So I'm playing some last minute sets against Carrie, and this is where there's a streak that I probably brought up on the last time I was on the show. I have a very funny streak where I have, to this day, never brought a normal Incineroar to a tournament. My Incineroars, I got a little close on Milwaukee, but I was running minus speed nature with Covert Cloak and U-turn. So like that at that time, still a little weird, so I'm counting it. But this Incin was gonna be normal. It was gonna be like a real proper Incineroar. And then I realized I had an auto loss into Volcarona, and I was like, what if I ran Terra Fire to resist both of its moves? So I switched to Terra Fire Incineroar to keep the streak alive.
There we go.
That was my Volcarona matchup. Terra Fire Incineroar. Yeah, so Sylveon did nothing till finals, where I played against a Covert Cloak Volcarona player, and yeah, it was good. In finals.
Hey, that's all that matters. Sylveon showed up when she needed to. You know what I mean? That's all that matters. And I was gonna say, like, when I was looking, I'm like, man, just as Hyper Voice, because I've tried to use a lot of Sylveon in my day, and I've done a lot of like, Terra Fire for Terra Blast and Substitute and things like that. And I was like, man, you run into a Golden Go, you run into like some of these big steel types that are in this format, and all you got to Hyper Voice. I was
it's the speed tier. The speed tier and the defense stat. Like I ran over 300 EVs in bulk, and I'm still a roll to die to Dire Claw from Adamant Sneasler. It's so dumb. It's just like the damage output's really, really good, and the moveset's like interesting, but like the 65 defense just kills it. It's so... Ooh.
So I want to ask, because now we have a new iconic VGC duo here, because we've got Sejune's Pachirisu, we've got Wolf's Incineroar, and we've got Stefan's Scyther, baby.
Sorry, BJ. I'm sorry, buddy.
How does it feel to, like, obviously you came out immediately, it's like you like were stopping the allegations before they could start. Like, no, it's not my favorite Pokemon. Please don't use it. Please don't listen to Karen. Like, you tried. I'll give you credit. You tried. But darn well, as soon as they said Scyther won a regional, somebody booted up Discord and told their friends, see, little Timmy, you can win with, Mr. Mime, because if you put your mind to it.
I actually just brought up Mr. Mime as I was trolling Rose yesterday because she hates Mr. Mime. I'm like, hey, Mr. Mime with EPLI is pretty bulky. It's actually like double super effective into Sneasler. Like that thing's pretty good.
So do you think that this team, is this just a Stefan special, or do you think that there is legs to adapt off of this team for other players as this format continues? Maybe not even just his team, Scyther in general, let's say.
Oh, Scyther's really good. Scyther's
Okay.
really good. One of the things that I heard from some of my friends who are in various building discords is the first thing people were doing was thinking about what to replace the Scyther with. Okay, have fun losing. Like, see ya, bye. Like, I'll see you at the 4-4 tables, buddy. Like, don't do that. Scyther is so good. Scyther is, I mean, it is a little meta dependent. It's really good because, Annihilate's really, really common, and the things that Scyther is particularly good against are quite common right now. So it has a very, very good niche at this individual moment. That doesn't mean that it's always going to be good. That doesn't mean that it was good before. One of the biggest misconceptions that people have about team building is like, oh, like, this is a good thing just forever and always in this format. And like, you'll see a lot of, I see on Twitter every now and then, you'll see somebody be like, oh wow, I had the regional winning team in my builder 4 months ago. I'm like, cool, it wasn't good 4 months ago. Like, you didn't have the right team, you had the wrong team. Like, your team was bad because of when you built it. Like, you have to have an understanding about what makes things good and when they are good, right? Because like, just because I had success with Scyther in this moment does not mean that Scyther was good in October. Scyther would not have been very good in October because it would not have, like, the max speed, less bulky, pseudo supportive Final Gambit ape sets were not being run, and that's the biggest niche that it has, is being able to check those. Like, Pop Bomb Mouse was not being run, so being able to one-shot mouse hold wasn't relevant. You know, the things that were common, like I think it was still overlooked a little bit. It's a very, very good Pokemon, and it has a very, very good stat total for the format that we're playing right now. But we're getting a little bit sidetracked here. To answer your actual question, yes, Scyther is good, but it's doing a job, right? You can't build a Scyther team. You put Scyther on a team that is struggling with the things that Scyther counters. And that's kind of why, when I was describing the team building process earlier, Scyther was the 5th piece that we had on the team, because it's not a centerpiece of a team. It's not something that you can sort of build an entire game plan around, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be.
I think, like, one of the final questions I have about the team building, touching on the fact that, like, the team's filling niches, and that it isn't you building around a favorite Pokemon, or like, I want to make this quirky, fun, unique Pokemon good, but more so rather hearing that process throughout it, is because we have a lot of people in the OHKO server and that listen that do want to like build these unique teams, you know, because like team building can be fun, right? Especially like to see, obviously you built something very unique and it won an event, like that has to feel so satisfying, right?
Mhm.
But like, when to go into those niches and to go more into that creativity versus sticking to what is good, because obviously your team has very unique pieces, but like there's still an Incineroar, one of like the best Pokemon of all time. There is still a Golden Go, which is insane in this format, right? So like, when to be able to go into that creative as opposed to like sticking to like what is like good, right?
Yeah, I think like it's a little hard for me. There are some controversial opinions I have about team building. I don't know how controversial you want me to get on the podcast, but one of the big things is that there are a lot of people who try, like, who are like, I am going to start playing Pokemon and I want to build my own teams. Cool, don't do that. Like, you can't build a good team until you have a very good understanding of what makes good teams good. So you should not be doing that off the bat. You should be spending the first pretty substantial amount of your time using other people's teams and understanding why they work. Now, I still think building teams on the side and like practicing the things that you're learning is really, really beneficial. But if you want to actually win games and you want to even just improve at team building, the way you improve at team building is not by building more teams. It's by playing other people's teams and understanding why they are better than yours. And where I am now, I don't even think about like what mons are like. I think about what mons are popular, and I think about what makes a mon good for what I want it to do. But I don't build around any individual mon because they're good. Incin was one of the last pieces we put on the team, for example. I didn't go, Incin is a good Pokemon, so I will use Incineroar. Like, if you look at a lot of my teams, you'll see a lot of the time I'm using mons that are like kind of adjacent to like the splashable mon, but aren't the splashable mon. And I kind of, one of the things that I always say about splashable Pokemon is that they are good. They are very good, and they will function on the majority of teams. But in any individual team, I think a lot of the time the splashable Pokemon is not actually the best option for that team. It's good to throw it on there if you run out of time, and it's like it'll be fine if you can't find the better thing. But a really good example was in San Diego in 23. Everybody was putting AV King Gambit on every single team. It was just such a good Pokemon, and I had an AV King Gambit on my team, and I looked at it and I'm like, I really just need an AV Steel type here. And the more I looked at my matchup spread, I'm like, okay, Scissor is just better on my team. It's not a better Pokemon. It's a significantly worse Pokemon. But on my specific team, with the way that my team was constructed, Scissor was doing more for me than King Gambit. And King Gambit still probably would have been fine at the regional, but it would have been a little bit less optimal. So all that to say, I don't build around any of these pieces because they are good pieces. I build around them because they are accomplishing what I want them to accomplish. So Incineroar, for example, is really, really good. Once we made it more of a Garg-centric team, Incineroar is really good because obviously it helps the Garg stay alive on the physical side. Fake Out Pressure is really good to enable us to get Solcure or Stealth Rocks up. And then, of course, just generally being able to like repeatedly Fake Out, Pivot, Fake Out, things like that to slow down the game on a team that already benefits from having more and more of those sort of slow turns go by. Incin is really, really good because of that. Not necessarily just because Incin has a really good numbers. It like does a very specific thing. Same with the Golden Go, right? Like Golden Go is going to be good on more teams because it is a broken Pokemon. Like it is a very good Pokemon and it is good because of that. But I'm not using it because Golden Go good. I'm using it because being the fastest thing in the format with Choice Scarf that offers really, really consistent spread damage is really, really good because it allows the Garganacl stuff to kill faster. It allows me to sort of take advantage of putting things in range of a Golden Go in the back where like all I have to do is be like, oh, okay, I could just like take this Annihilate that's Terra Fire down to below 50 and then I'll just Shadow Ball it and I win the game, right? Like even though Annihilate looks like it can get out of control into this team, I'm not trying to kill the Annihilate. I'm trying to get the Annihilate to like 55%, which is a very, very easy thing to do, honestly. So that's what that's for. Like Alolan Ninetales is there for coverage into dragons and ground types, but also because Aurora Veil is really, really good, and its speed tier is really, really good. So being one of the faster things in the format, Sash Blizzard hits like a wet noodle, but it does about one Salt Cure tick worth of damage. This means that's one less turn that the Garganacl stuff has to be on the field in order to actually pull off the game, which is a pretty substantial thing. And also, like, 20% to freeze something every time it fires off a Blizzard goes crazy on this team. So, even though those mons are good, they're not used because they're good. They're used because they're completing a specific role on the team. So, like my Raichu at Worlds, for example, the joke I was making to people was I brought Calyrex Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, double Fake Out, Tailwind, Redirect. But I brought Calyrex Shadow Rider, Iron Defense, Body Press, Zama, Fake Out, Covert Cloak, Grimmsnarl, Fake Out, Faint, Raichu, Roaring Moon, Ogerpon, Wellspring. So, like, it's not a normal team, but, like, I can play it like a normal team, but because of the way it's constructed, Raichu creates really good pins with, like, Faint Astral Barrage in endgames, Helping Hand Astral Barrage in early games, Double Fake Out lets me play the team like a normal team. So, like, those are kinds of the reasons why those Pokemon work, and, like, Grimmsnarl is a really, really good Pokemon. But I didn't really need Reflect on my team because I was running Iron Defense Body Press on the Zama, so that let me run just Light Screen, and then I was able to run Fake Out instead of Reflect. And, you know, you have to, like, actually have a very, very specific justification for everything on your team. And it's not just, like, not just for the Shitmon, right? Like, people will be like, oh, I need to justify why this Scyther is there. Yeah, but you also need to justify why that Incineroar is there. Why is it an Incineroar? Is there a better thing that it can be? A lot of the time the answer is going to be no, because it's Incineroar. But sometimes the answer will be yes, and then you need to be critically thinking about every single piece on your team. And by doing that, you can be more open to other options, right? Because while on the one hand, you're being more critical of the good pieces, the obvious pieces, that's good. But on the other hand, if you're very, very good at that critical thinking, you can be more critical about, like, oh, this, like, bad Pokemon could work because of this, this, and this. Like, Sylveon was not good on my tournament run, but it was really good into the King Gambit matchup, and I played exactly one King Gambit in finals. So, the justification, the Sylveon one, it wasn't good. I would have done better if I did not bring Sylveon. But the justification was there, and the thought process and the team building was still, like, there was a reason why I got there, and that reason is still, like, a good skill in team building. And the last thing I do want to say on this is that the biggest problem with team building, and this is kind of the biggest struggle, I think, newer players or like anybody who's like not a top player really have with team building is that the most important skill, in my opinion, the most important skill in team building is being willing and able to quickly identify which idea is bad. Because if you're willing to try all these things, most of them are gonna suck. Like, I talked about how I had Chestnut and like Levitate Wheezing in my builder. You have to be willing to try those things to find the really good things, but you have to be willing to throw them in the trash very quickly. Otherwise, if I spent 3 days on the Levitate Wheezing thing, I get to Monterey, I don't have Sylveon because I was spending too much time on the Wheezing. So you need to be willing, like, you need to have no emotional connection to any piece on your team. You need to be willing to throw it in the trash as soon as it becomes apparent that that is not the way to go, because then that will allow you to try out more things and find the actual creative thing that works.
Now, it's time, Stefan, to cash in on some free coaching advice, okay? Because you're stuck here with us. So
Sure.
nothing you can do about it. All right, I'm playing in Pittsburgh this weekend. Maybe I'll be facing off against you. So, no leaks, but yeah, I've been working with our community. We have a really fun team. I think it's gonna be a good time. We play in the GC. We had like 7 different people from the Discord playing in the GC with the same team, like trying to play. One of our players played the team in Frankfurt as well. So like, there's been some thought process put behind it. We're not just throwing 6 silly mons together and trying. And where I've been struggling in the best of 3 dynamic, which I'm looking for your advice on, and I'm sure a lot of new players might also be struggling with this if they've not played in a lot of regionals with Open Team Sheet, with somewhat of the information overload, because you have all 6 Pokemon that your opponent has, and all the Terra types and the items, and like, just because they have a move like on their team, it could just be a decoy. Like, they might not click the low kick or the drain punch Incineroar, like you're saying, right? But it's there, so you have to think about it every time. And I struggle, especially in the Golden Go and Annihilate and some other like ghost types, where every turn I'm like, well, they could Terra. Well, they could click this. Well, they could click this. And I'm looking for your advice as a 2-time regional champion now. How do you handle the information overload when you have 45 seconds and just like endless possibilities of what they can click?
Yeah, so obviously, like, if you watch Wolf content specifically, but a lot of the top players play the same way, you want to be covering for as many things as possible, and in a perfect world, you can cover for everything. Depending on the team, it depends a little bit on like what your options are there. Sometimes you will have to make reads, but something that is really, really important is I try to play with as few reads as possible, because I think that it introduces volatility that I would rather not play. There are other ways to play the game, and they are not incorrect. My way is not objectively correct, but I like to think about the game as a puzzle where I am trying to find lines that will win me the game, no matter what my opponent does. So that's the ideal. But if you want to play that way, you have to have a really good understanding of when you are going to need to make reads. So, for example, if I'm playing against a Life Orb and Make It Rain Golden Go, a lot of players will be like, oh, if I nasty plot to like +6, I'll just kill the Garganackle. So I'm trying to set Salt Cure up and then outlast the Golden Go. So, for example, a very, very level 1 surface level play that the Garganackle player could make is I click Salt Cure into the Golden Go, they click Nasty Plot, and then I click Protect to get another turn of Salt Cure damage done. But I, as the person running the Garganackle, know my calcs better than them, and I also know how other people tend to play. That Protect is so telegraphed that most players will click a second Nasty Plot to make sure that they get the kill and to cover for the Protect. So all I have to do is just click like Recover or something, or just anything that's not Protect, and then on the next turn, I'm threatening Protect again. And then that is a very, very small read that I have just made that got me effectively an additional 25% of chip onto the Golden Go. So if I really wanted to be a psychopath, I could not Protect, swap my partner into my Golden Go, which will do over 25% to them, and then on the next turn, just click Make It Rain Protect, and they're dead. And all of a sudden, that's a way that I was able to sort of cover for as many options as possible, because, for example, like, let's say I'm playing against not Life Orb on the Golden Go, for, like, the Grassy Seed version or something. If I'm playing against that team, the +2 Make It Rain is not killing my Terraflying Garganacl. So in that case, I could be like a little bit more aggressive on that turn too. Where like they're probably going to Nasty Plot to +4. So I could just be like, okay, cool. I'm going to just click Salt Cure into the partner here because I know that like they are not going to be able to punish me. And if they do click click Make It Rain, I don't even get close to dying, and I'm fine anyway. Like I don't really care. So you're trying to find as many of those plays as possible where they're kind of middle ground plays where regardless of what they do, you are advancing your board state towards whatever you're trying to accomplish. My nose is running real quick. Let me grab a tissue.
It's okay. You're good. You're good.
Hey, you're good. I can't believe Joe Brown's trying to cash in on free coaching. That is your one and only question, by the way, or else we're going to get charged. We're going to get charged for this session, you know? But I hope you're getting the answers you want.
Yeah.
I'd also that was really cool to hear that there's so many people that have been running the team recently. Like,
yeah,
that's cool.
We had 7 different people. Now, some of them aren't in our Discord, but we did have 5 from the Discord and then 2 other friends that use the team. I'll send it to you after this, Stefan. It's pretty
cool.
fun.
Yeah,
it's
for
pretty
sure.
Cool.
But yeah, I think like fundamentally that's like kind of the ultimate skill, I think, of VGC is being able to identify as many of those potential things they could do as possible and covering for as many of them as possible. There's also sort of the second level, which is, but are they gonna, right? Like,
that's where I struggle, Stefan. Every time when I'm playing, I'm like, well, if I were them, I would click, I don't know, Helping Hand, I don't know, Make It Rain or something. Well, you can't do that. I understand.
So you
I'm
have
just
to
throwing words together.
No,
and then they don't click. It's like, obviously they're going to protect the Sneasler in this turn because I'm threatening it so much, and then they don't protect it. And I'm like, am I an idiot? Or like, did they just not go with what I thought was a sound play?
Well, like you could also think about things from the perspective of like, there might be a play that like you're looking at your turn and you're like, I think I want to do this, but this just kind of loses if they do this other thing. But like, think about it from their perspective too. Like, if the move that you lose to, is that a move that is like, does that lose? Like, is it only good into that one option you have? Because if so, like, analyze the board state, right? Let's say that you are a little bit behind and your opponent they could win the game immediately with a psychotically hard read that just hard reads your exact play. But if that play loses to like everything else you could do and they're already ahead, they're probably not going to take that risk because it's not a good play. Like, even if it would win against you, it is an objectively bad play. Because like, you know, unless they have other options. Like, if your play gets it back to like a 50-50 board state or puts you slightly ahead, risking their lead on and like the whole game on just hard reading that one thing is not necessarily good. Some examples as well that you could think about are like a good example of Buddy's Not Gonna is there is actually a recording of the finals, and there was one turn in particular where I clicked Wish on Sylveon and I was at like half HP and I had Garganacl on board as well. And the Garganacl was at like 70% or something. And I'm looking at the board state. I'm like, oh yeah, if he targets a Sylveon, like he does just kill the Sylveon. But I just clicked Wish and I'm at half HP and there's a Sneasler in front of me. Why would I not protect? Like, not protecting on my Sylveon here is such a colossal throw that he is definitely going to respect the protect. So I just didn't protect and clicked Hyper Voice. Because, like, why would you attack into the Sylveon there? It's such a stupid play that you're just like, because also, like, you are trying to remove the Garganacl as well. So, like, the Garg is also applying that pressure where it's like, if they attack into the Sylveon and it protects, which is a really obvious thing that could do, they're, like, dead because the Garganacl is just going to Salt Cure the King Gambit and then they take 25 chip every single turn and then until they're dead. So you have to think about the pressure that is being put onto your opponent as well, and definitely try to put yourself in their shoes and think about, like, not just like, are they going to see this one play that could kill me, but also what does that play look like to them? Like, does it look like a good player? Does it look like, oh, I could win if they do this one thing, but like, I lose if they do anything else? Like, are they going to make that calculation? If you're playing against a psychopath, and they do exist, that's when you do try to analyze sort of the way they're playing the game as well, right? Like, where if you're playing against somebody who just, like, is making obscenely hard reads for no reason, then maybe you don't make that play. But if you're playing against somebody who's not doing that, they're probably not just going to start making obscenely hard reads halfway through game 2 when they're ahead.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I don't, well, you're Garby to sure. I told Joe Brown that's his one coaching question, or else we're getting charged. And I want to bring the conversation back up to you, as we are getting a little short on time for this part of the segment. But obviously, you have now won a regional. You have won your medal, which, like, also congratulations. You said this is what you wanted to do. You now have your auto invite to Worlds. So, like, what does the rest of the season look like for you? Because I know that you're talking about going to Pittsburgh, right? But, like, is it still like okay, well, I still want to be bringing what is the best team so I can get more medals? Is it more of I could play the things that I want? Are we seeing less events? Like, everyone always varies after getting the invite, especially, too, for yourself. Getting it off the first event, like, there's still a whole season and there's no pressure now.
It doesn't change anything. At the risk of, like, I never like the way this sounds, but, like, I don't even think about my invite throughout the season because I feel like I should not be having a hard time getting my invite. Like, the invite should be a foregone conclusion for me is the way I think about it. So the fact that I have my invite does not change anything. I'm going to go to all the same events and I'm going to try to win more medals. I'm not going to change the way I'm building because the only way I know how to play this game is to try to win. So I'm going to continue trying to win. And if I win an NA event, I can make a really funny joke about how I giveth by giving an extra auto invite to America by taking a LATAM one, and then taketh away by just deleting it by winning an NA one. And I think that'd be a funny tweet. So, we're going to do it for the bit.
I respect
Oh my goodness. All right. That would be a funny bit. And you could all say, like, if it happens, the OHKO community could say that they heard it here first. But I know I have one question on behalf of the community. But before that, because we'll count that as, like, the community question. But Joe Brown, anything else for Pengy before we let him go on his day?
I mean, honestly, I consider Stefan a good friend. I know we've talked many times at regionals about your pride in your play and wanting that another notch in your belt of a regional championship. So I don't have any other questions for you. I was so happy when I saw the news that you got this second title down.
Thank you, Joe.
And now I had the question and then I forgot it. So give me half a second.
Oh, that's
to look back.
That's on me.
That's
on me.
I know.
I took too long praising Stefan. Yeah.
The question has been in my head for like the last 25 minutes too. Like I was
also, by the way, thanks. Now I have to figure out our OHKO team's Garganackle Sylveon Scyther matchup.
Can I be so real? Can I be so real about that for a sec? Nobody knows how to play this team. In a week. I have, if we include last Reg H, because the fundamental core of the team is the same 4 that's still on the team. It's the Ninetales, Golden Go, Ince, and Garg. I have maybe 4,500 games with that core. Nobody knows how to play this team except for Ethan. Ethan. Maybe Justin. I think Justin played enough games against me this weekend and is a good enough player that I think he probably could pick it up and like have a pretty good understanding now of how the team functions. And like, I'm not saying nobody else is good enough to play the team. I'm saying that nobody else there is not enough time in 4 days to get the reps in to play it at a level where I think people are going to actually bring it. And also, like, there were a lot of people who reached out to me at the beginning of Reg H.2, and they're like, "Can I have your Garganackle paste from LAIC?" And every single one of them, except for one person, dropped the team because they're like, this is weird. I don't get it. Like, even my building partner, Ethan, I love Ethan. He's been such a huge part of this team and this journey. Even Ethan, a day before Monterey, is just like, "Hey, buddy, our Tang team matchup's really bad." And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's fine. Like, I'm winning every single time." He's like, "I don't know, man." And I just, like, beat Tang twice. So, like, it's fine. It is okay. But, like, even the people who have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games with the team are struggling with things that are, like, the margins on the team are very fine. Like, I'm going into a lot of matchups with 55-45 kind of matchups, and if you don't really understand all of the intricate details of the team, that could very quickly turn into a 45-55, and then your entire matchup spread is negative. So, I wouldn't worry about it too much for this regional.
Correct. And I figured out the question. So this was
Okay.
the discussion that the server was having after they saw you win, right? And it kind of ties back to something that talked about at the beginning of the show, which was this is the second time we're having the regulation, right? One that did kind of have some creativity, but also some things kind of more solved. So the discussion was based off of this first comment from Queenie, which was, I also love when we discover that the meta isn't as solved as we think it was. And then there is the discussion from there because your team looks very kind of, in my opinion, more anti-meta, not redefining a meta going on forward, especially to how you're kind of talking about it and talking about how your Garganackle team from LEIC was something that people picked up to then drop because it just wasn't really necessarily working out for them. So we didn't really get to see an impact on the meta. So I'd like to know your opinion about this team and kind of like other teams constructed like this, if this is an indication of a meta not being solved, or if this is kind of a meta is more solved, which allows anti-meta teams to be played and piloted to this winning like position.
It's kind of the same thing though, right? Like, if a meta is solved to the point where Ape is on 40% of teams and Dragonite's on 40% of the teams, and then a bunch of people just start running stuff that counters Ape and Dragonite, they are anti-meta teams, but they're going to inherently redefine the meta because people are going to be less willing to run those core concepts that are like solving the meta, right? Like if suddenly Scyther's at 55% usage, no one's running Annihilate with Taunt and Final Gambit. It's like, why? Like you're just going to die against the 55% Scyther usage. Cope. But like, but the main answer that I have for you is that there is no such thing as a solved meta. If you don't think that if you can't find the way to break the meta, then you aren't building well enough, and that is not like an indictment of like that is an indictment of anybody who can't solve it. Because like sometimes I think when people, especially at the top end, start to describe a meta as solved, it's just that it is really hard to figure out. And sometimes you have to spend 7 hours staring at all of the Pokemon sorted by base stat total until you realize that the answer is fucking Scyther. Like, there is something there that will work. Figure it out. And I think one of the things that is a little interesting is that, like, a lot of people just give up really fast, and it's not even an incorrect decision, right? Like, if I'm trying to build a team and I can't figure out how to get there, but like the Tang team is right there and it's still pretty good, like most of the time you're going to have more value spending the next week and a half prepping that team and getting really good at it instead of just looking at the builder and going, oh god, I really hope I figure this out in time. So like it is a very, very fair decision to not focus on building and to instead focus on like, all right, I'm just going to take this team that's fine and I'm going to get really good at it and I'm going to skill diff my way to day 2. That's what we're going to do. And that's what a lot of people do. And there's, it is generally, I would say, probably the better way to go about it. But you know, if you, I just think I'm pretty good at team building. I think I'm like, I think my biggest skill in team building is I am so good at throwing things in the trash after like 3 games. Just being like, nah, this thing sucks. No, like, next. So, like, I'm pretty confident in my ability to solve whatever problem I'm having. But I mean, team building is really, really hard. There's so many different layers to it. Part of it is also, like, being good enough at identifying if the team actually will work, right? Like, sometimes you've built yourself into a corner and there is nothing that will solve your problem. And that's not a meta problem so much as it is like you made a mistake somewhere along the team building process. Maybe your concept's not actually as good as you thought it was. Maybe you have a Sneasler that's the second best Pokemon on your team, and that's the problem. And you have to actually come to terms with the fact that's the Pokemon that's not going to be making it to Monterey. Like, but all of that kind of ties back into the idea of like building when you don't know that you're going to get there is inherently more risky than just taking a good team and being good with it. So I think when it gets really, really difficult to sort of counter things in the meta, it is generally just a better idea for top players to just play their own, like play the established stuff, because that at least you know that you're going to be piloting a good team. You're a good player. You can get a result. You're probably not going to win the tournament, but like you'll get a good result early on in the season, like baseline for the season, especially right now. I understand why a lot less people are like trying to crack the meta, but I do think, to answer your actual question, I do think anti-meta and like meta development are kind of two sides of the same coin. I think that like anti-meta stuff is not going to stay good if the meta changes, but it will force the meta to change.
Yeah. No, I like that answer. And I feel like the OHKO community is going to have a fun time dissecting and talking about that one. And
I'm glad.
we got to wrap this up, but I do want to follow up with a quick question with a 20-second answer, because you said one of your best skills is being able to throw away Pokemon. Have you ever regretted throwing away a Pokemon before an event? You don't have to go into details, but Did you ever throw away a concept and it was like, oh, no, you're always on the money?
If I throw something away, it's because I'm convinced that it is bad. It is possible that maybe I hit matchups that Pokemon would have been good on, but that doesn't mean that the Pokemon was good. That means that I hit a very specific subset of people in the schedule. Like that can happen. Like there's a world where I hit 10 King Gambits and Sylveon is my MVP for the tournament. Like that doesn't make Sylveon the correct call for this team, but like, you know, like that would have been like, I think I would have come out of this tournament having played a bunch of King Gambits if I looked at the usage stats and saw that it was not even in top 12 of day 2 of Frankfurt and it was only coming to King Gambit matchups. Even if I played like 6 King Gambits, I'm dropping Sylveon because it's not doing anything in anything else. And if the usage stats of King Gambit aren't what they need to be, then what's the point in me dedicating an entire slot to it?
No, super, super fair. So thank you for all of your insight, especially there's so many people interested in team building. I'm sure they're going to have so much to go off of for this. Of course, anyone listening, we're not wrapping up the episode quite yet because we have a second interview with none other than James Evans. But before we get to that, make sure to check out Pengy's socials, the team report as well, to learn more about the team. And Stefan, any final words from yourself for the viewers?
Thank you to you two for having me on. It's always a pleasure being on OHKO. And, you know, I have a whole shout-outs thread on Twitter, but we'll just speed run the shout-outs. Shout-outs to my friend Ethan for helping me build this team. He's been very, very instrumental in the team building process. He's the reason we brought Sylveon, actually. So you are wrong, Ethan, but you did win me finals, so thank you. But Ethan has been a huge part of this process. Big shout-outs to Chase Rumsey for helping test the team more recently as well, and of course, shoutouts to Rose for being the Sylveon that won me finals. Cute clip. Check out my Twitter thread. You'll see a cute clip that's worth your time. And that's shoutouts to my friend Emily for helping me prep a million matchups, and to everybody else at UBG and Small Up for helping me prep as well.
Sweet. Yeah, the clip is very cute. So viewers, you will have to, we'll link it in the description as well. But thank you again for your time. Now with the magic of editing, swoosh to a new interview. With the power of editing, we are back with, I was going to say with James Evans, but I guess instead it's a little Quagsire we got going on over here. And that's a fun little shout out to production on our end, because they love the little puppets for the lounge and stuff. But James, great, I'm back.
Good. You're back. I didn't know whether to break the immersion or not. Like,
oh my!
Dude, this is just to let everyone. This is what 100%ing Silk Song does to a man, okay? What's more difficult, James? Getting second at the World Championships or 100%ing Silk Song?
Ooh, that's a difficult question. You don't have to do Hunter's March at Worlds, so like that's already kind of skewing my answer a little bit.
My God. Well, good to know. You heard it here first.
Yeah. For context, guys, I didn't know if James was going to show up for the recording because he was napping after staying up all night to 100% Silk Song. But I'm, glad you're able to accomplish that. So you beat Silk Song and you got second in the World Championships. Yeah. And that is what we had to talk to you about today. We've been dying to get you on the podcast to be able to talk about all of this. And even if we are within a new season of Pokemon now already, which it seems crazy already that we've started and 2 regionals have happened. Crazy. Still wanted to talk to you about your experience. So I want to know now, since it has been a bit of time since the World Championships, you previously were a world champion, now second in one of like the most stacked world championships at all time. Like, how's it been getting back to like regular life after that? Or like how does it kind of feel?
It's really weird. Like, I would say kind of going into the tournament, I didn't expect to like get far at all, and like it's a weird feeling. Usually after an event, it's always been kind of like I get home, and even events this season, like at UIC, I got top 16, and that was the first event of the season that I ended up top cutting. And I was ecstatic after that. I got home, and I was like, I feel amazing. I'm the man. But like, this was a really weird one where I think this is like the first tournament I've ever come back from where I kind of was like, I went in, I was just like, yeah, I'm doing schoolwork, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then I got home and like life was just the exact same immediately. It's like a really weird feeling to describe because like I wasn't expecting anything going into the tournament. So like walking home with like second place trophy, I was like more like, okay, crap, now I need to get this all home because I wasn't expecting to do anything with it. But like since then I feel like my life's been pretty normal. Like it still kind of feels surreal. Like I have the trophy and I like every day I walk and I see it, I'm like, that's mine. Yeah, all right, that's mine. Cool. It's one of those things where like I still kind of don't realize it. I would say, and part of me is kind of happy that it still feels that way. Like I'm like, oh, it was that surreal. Like it still doesn't feel, and like that's a feeling that I don't think I get that much. Like still like while playing Pokemon because like I said before, usually I come home from an event, especially one that I won. And it kind of takes a little bit to kind of get back to where I was a little bit before. Like you keep thinking about it, or you always say someone mentions it to you. No, this time it was kind of just like, and like people at school still mention it and stuff. Like it comes by in passing every once in a while, but like I feel like, mentally I'm very much just like, all right, that happened, and I'm very, very content with it.
Well, I think what's cool about your run specifically, or just like your playstyle in general, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like whenever I'm watching a regional and James is on a run, I think you're one of the best players in North America that is really able to capitalize on the momentum of a tournament. And it's not just like, it's not just like, oh, you happen to strike lightning in a bottle. It's like, no, it's this time with this team against this field of players in these matchups. And I think if we look at your Vancouver win, look at so many of your the regional top cuts, it like you almost feel like unlosable. Like just the team, it's right. It's the team you brought is right for the taking, is the right decision. And did you feel this way going into Worlds this year? Like you're 5 rounds in, and you felt like, oh man, this team is really, or I feel like I'm gonna go the distance. Like maybe you're doing some other regionals, or why wouldn't you feel that way?
So like, what is it? Going into Worlds, I was like super dooming. Like I remember they threw out a survey, I think, for people that was like, basically just like things that were going to happen at the Pokemon World Championships, and they were like, we want to like kind of see interests or filter it out for all Worlds invitees. And one of the questions that they had at the very end was like, how do you feel about Worlds coming up? And I remember I just tweeted it out, and I think afterwards I put just like, I put not very good, like, and sent it. Like, you're not supposed to do that, but I did. But like, it was one of those things where I was just like, I was scattered. I had no clue, what to do. Cause like, for reference as well, this was the first year I've ever had where I didn't have a summer break. At college, like at Drexel, they have you start doing summer quarters, after your first year, like freshman year. So not only was I doing classes, I was searching for like co-op. I was just doing a bunch of stuff that I'd never done before. So now it was kind of like, okay, figure out how to make a Worlds team, at the same time while you're doing a bunch of new things. Like my birthday rolled around, so like I was busy with that. Just like life stuff in general. While making like a team that I was going to bring to Worlds. And just like off the dome, I can tell you, like, I didn't do a whole lot of prep. Like, basically, every week was trying to find some, like, excuse, like, why not to prep after NAIC. I was like, all right, I'll take, like, a 3-week break. And then after that's, like, oh, I got schoolwork to do. And then, oops, like, there's someone's birthday party is this weekend. Oh, there's, like, a Smogon tour. So, like, let's watch that and, like, figure out what to do after that. So, like, I didn't spend a whole lot of time prepping, like, in the conventional sense where, like, you kind of just play teams and then you go to ladder. I only started doing that probably like 3 weeks out from the tournament, which was not a good call. But like I was kind of just like looking around for other teams to use because like I didn't actually have faith in the team that I was using. I'm actually like pulling out my builder right now, but like I just did a lot of different stuff to start out, and then eventually I kind of just gave up like entirely. I was like, all right, don't even try to do anything special. Just like run what you know, because if you're running something that you at least know fundamentally, it's kind of hard to, you know, like I would say, if worst case, like you don't have an idea of what to do, you can at least fall back on like what you do know. And that is something like I think you kind of mentioned with like every run that I have. A lot of the time, it's like generally a team that I've been running for a while, and then it gets on a deep run, and then it can kind of go very far. This kind of build was like I would say very similar, despite kind of having a lot of radical changes. Like I ran the team in Milwaukee, ran the team in NAIC, and thankfully, like also there were other people that I would say I am not a very like I don't reach out a lot when I'm kind of at wit's end. Like I usually have like a few people that I do that for. Like Aaron Trailer's a really good example. I asked him to help me prep. We kind of just like hit a wall immediately. We were like, okay, we need to figure out like how to fix this, like the CIR Miraidon matchup in general, because like this just seems unwinnable for like my initial team. But like a big part of this year's Worlds, I think that like helped change about like a lot of this season in general was talking to new players and getting new perspectives. Whether that be like via coaching. Yeah, I would say, funnily enough, coaching is like a two-way street. Sometimes people give you perspectives that you didn't really see yourself. And especially like with wheezing, that was a big thing. Being able to just discuss with other people freely, like, hey, this is what my ideas were for the build, and that helped a lot. Kind of just taking them in and seeing like there are other ways to build this comp out. But like for Worlds specifically, Gabriel Agati texted me, like I think like a few weeks before the event, like 2 weeks, I want to say. And he was like, "Yo, are you still on CSR Koraidon? Do you want to build it out?" And I was like, "Yes, like please, like that would be a huge help." So I actually got to talk to him. I got to talk to Mal Harada, kind of about ways to build out the archetype, in new and different ways. And like again, getting different perspectives, was a huge help. And I think like kind of reinventing this team, because like I'll say again, I wasn't feeling good about the tournament. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna lock these four, because I was like, if I'm gonna lose, if I'm gonna go 0-3 drop, I might as well go 0-3 drop with like something I'm familiar with. That was the same mentality I had, like back in 2018 Worlds as well. Like I was gonna bring a completely different team than what I was originally, like what I brought instead. I was gonna bring like some Charizard Y, like Tyranitar garbage. And then like the day before the event, I got like 4-0'd on ladder. Like I tried playing ladder, and like I just got like trampled by like I think like 3 other seniors, and it was just like bad. So like everyone in my room was like, okay, just run Gardevoir at this point because you don't really have anything else. And you updated that team like a while back, but you never really looked into like how the changes work out. And if you're gonna bomb, you might as well bomb with something that you're familiar with. Like I've carried that mentality like very, very far after that first like world, like or was it second Worlds, because it's like, yeah, it's kind of hard to argue against, especially because it's very easy to, I would say it's very easy to lock a team and like not care. It's hard to lock a team you're familiar with, knowing that like I would say it's not exactly meta, but like in your hands it can go the distance. That's something I try to keep a lot of faith in. Even if the team's not exactly like lined up for the metagame. Like I know I'm gonna enjoy my team, I'm gonna enjoy myself and have a fun tournament. Regardless of how it goes, if I lock things that I enjoy running. And it also helps when generally they have a good portfolio to back it up, like from prior tournaments. But like I made this team, I think this variant of the team that I ran, at like 1:30 in the morning, the day of the event. I remember literally Joe and Brady, I roomed with them, and they were like sleep talking. Joe was literally talking through matchups in his sleep, and Brady was like kicking the bed, and I was just sitting there. I was just like, what is happening? Like, what is happening at 1:30 in the morning? What am I doing? But it all works out. Like I said, I think this version of the team is very different from what I ran before, but I still was able to kind of play off the lines, and everything. It was just I would say not exactly like don't prep like that ever. I would say, but like I'm very fortunate it all worked out. Like I did a lot of studying per se, so I guess that's what my prep was. But I didn't do like a lot of hands-on work. So when it came to the tournament, it was very much like I kind of made lines up on the fly. Literally, I woke up, realized my Miraidon Lunala matchup like down to exact lines, like how to play it. And then round one, I paired in the Miraidon Lunala like Fede Campo team. And I was like, all right, cool, let's test this because we're gonna see if it works. And it worked. And I was like, all right, we're off to a start. But like to kind of get back to if I knew it was gonna kind of be one of those tournament things. I didn't really get any indicator of that. Like I thought whether I win or lose my last round, I'm very happy to have made a stand, like to get that far, because usually my Masters World results are kind of all garbage before this one. Like I think I literally made a tweet that was like, and this is like a joke between a lot of people. So yeah, you might have heard this one before, like where it's like I tell people where I'm like, yeah, every Worlds result besides the one that I won is really bad, and then every time everyone's like, the one that you won, and I'm like, yeah, but like I still want to do well. Like so, it's like it's like I got the feeling very early on that like I was playing well. Like I was like, okay, I feel good. But funny enough, like I didn't feel a certain way about it until I played Beck, like James Beck. We played, I think, round 4 or 5, I want to say, one of the two. And I actually ended up losing that one 2-0. But afterwards, I kind of was, I would say, normally I play Beck, and I'm like, oh, god dang it, like, I'm gonna lose now, because I gotta play Beck, and it happens every time. This one was no different. I would say, I think it's like the 3rd or 4th time we played this season alone. But afterwards, I wasn't really bothered by the circumstances of it, and Beck afterwards, he was like, you played that really, really well. Like, it was a 2-0, but like, it was like extremely close 2-0. But he told me after the set, he was like, you played that really, like, scarily well. And he was like, if you keep that up, you're gonna cut the tournament. And I didn't let it get to my head, but I was like, huh. I started looking back, like, at the match, and I was like, I didn't play that really well. Okay, like, so that kind of pushed it a little bit, like, that led the charge, per se, where I was like, I was kind of thinking the whole weekend, I was like, I'm playing pretty well, but don't let it get to your head. Like, I would say, there's a lot of good people here, and you're still playing a team that has, like, a pretty negative matchup, and you gotta dodge a lot of things, so, like, if you're playing well, that means you can kind of subvert that, you can get around that if you gotta play, and I did end up playing my worst matchup a few times. But it was, like, a good reminder, like, okay, you know, like, I'm still in this, I'm doing pretty well, just keep playing good Pokemon moving forward, and, like, don't worry about whether you win or lose.
I want to go back to the beginning of it. You talking about rooming with Joe and Brady, because obviously got to then hear through the grapevine that before you were freaking out in terms of not knowing much of what was going on, which
So bad.
I think is really funny because I recall back to a regional where like a couple of rounds in, you were playing Garchomp Talonflame. I cannot remember what event it was. It was very early on in Scarlet Violet. And I asked you how you were doing, and you were also freaking out. And then you proceeded to, like, day 2 and do pretty well with the team.
If I had to guess, it was probably, I want to say it was Fort Wayne, because that was the first time I ended up, like, using that team, I think. But I don't think I had Talonflame. I think I had, like, Iron Jugulus or something awful. Like, it was a very, very rough version of, like, the team I would end up, like, using for the rest of Regulation C. It was, like, Garchomp, Iron Jugulus, Iron Hands, Arcanine. I think then it was Golden Go, and I want to say it was Iron. It's been so long, but like
it was a while back.
That was
like
also
I only remembered like the team thing.
Yeah, I was that was another team. I think I stayed up until like 2 a.m. building because I was like, I have no clue what to run for this event. I think it
Yeah.
was
Don't
literally
do
like,
it. Remember, guys, don't do it. But also,
But like,
when,
yeah,
do
like
when you do it,
you did the same
succeed.
Healthier
thing. You were
ways
freaking
to,
out
like-
the next day, and then you did well, and proceeded to keep doing well with
I
a
think I
similar
literally-
version of the team.
I think I literally went 8-0 that day, and then I lost to
Yeah.
Justin Tang last round. I was like, I was just sitting there. I was like, why does this happen? Like, but like,
Yeah, but-
oh, go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say though, like you, like being in a panic before the event, doing all these things that you tell other people not to do, but then proceed to do really well at the event. Like Joe Brown is talking about, like, you take a momentum being the James Evans thing. What I see is the I don't know what to do, panic. All of a sudden you do really well, which I think is then really interesting because it's like do you not necessarily believe in yourself? Is it just because you're so anxious before an event? And then that is so interesting because you had like the same beginnings of the event, but like how like calm you were after that on day 2 and like going into finals was like such a 180 from how you were feeling before the tournament, which I think is just so interesting. So I want to ask about that because like at what point did you go from I am freaking out to I'm just gonna play good Pokemon and it's gonna be a good time and just being the calm James Evans?
So like, I think a big thing beforehand, like I mentioned a few times, like off him, where I was like, yeah, I didn't feel really good before the tournament. I was freaking out. I think a lot of the time, and like this was something that I would say it does happen every once in a while, where you mentioned that Fort Wayne run, and I can remember a decent amount about it, namely before the tournament, because I was sitting in my bed, talking to friends about like building out the team, and it's like, okay, if it does well, it does well, and if we like lose, then like who cares? Because this was kind of the expected outcome anyways, doing something so haphazardly at the last minute, like literally at the 11th hour. So it's kind of one of those things where I was like, I remember going in and not caring. Again, awful thing to say, where it's like you just don't care. And like again, similar thing about 2018 Worlds, and I would say a really good event that kind of showcased it this year, was EUIC, because that was the first event that I think I did really, really well at. I made that key. It gets worse every time I talk about it. I would say I feel like every time.
It was at 3 a.m.
Yeah, more than 3 a.m. I made it at 4 a.m.
Oh
bathroom
my
in
god,
our
dude!
300 foot, like, or 300 square foot, like, hotel room. It was literally just like a cube with a bed in it, and then a bathroom that was like not wider than 3 feet. Like, surely. It was like, what is it? So I was rooming with my friend's Hanner Mask, and I was like, what is it? The entire day, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to make a team. I don't have a team for the event. It's Thursday. I'm like, all right, cool. We're supposed to go out, like, with friends for dinner. So, being the absolute great person I ended up falling asleep instead. Until, like, 2 in the morning. I wake up, and now I realize I'm like, okay, you don't have time now. You need to make a team, or else, like it's your ass on the grill. So I'm like, okay, now I need to make a team. So I'm like, but Tanner's sleeping right there. I can't really just like boot up my laptop and start texting people and like prepping stuff, because it's gonna be like this super bright monitor. So I'm like, all right, guess we're bringing my Switch, my phone, my laptop, everything into the bathroom. And we're gonna think tank this for 2.5 hours, and we're gonna figure something out. I think I had like 4 friends on call. I think I had like Marcus Dion, Brady, Jesse Romello, and like my friend Matthias, and Gio. Actually, Gio got me my Amoonguss for that tournament. He like read it for me and gave it to me. And he was like, "Yeah, is it good?" I was like, "This is perfect, thank you." But that whole like people were literally helping me with that team. I very much past the 11th hour. It was 4:30 in the morning. I don't think I slept for that tournament. Like, I woke up at 2 and like it was like, all right, we're playing the tournament now. And that team was made very last minute. And I was just saying, I was like, all right, if I go 3, I go 3, and it's like whatever. I ended up going undefeated to make day 2. Like 7-0, and I think I went 7-1. Or actually no, I think I went 6-0 to 6-1 to 7-1. My only loss was to Joe. But I think I literally I think I literally like posted on my Instagram story. I was like, I'm so cooked. Like it was just a photo of me in the bathroom on the builder, and then my next post was just never mind. And it's like the trainers to watch out for, like at 6-0, and it's just me. I'm like, oh cool, I'm up there. Like, but like a lot of the time, yeah, I was. It's not this like I don't care mentality, but it is very much like a zero expectations mentality. I try not to like. I would say knowing the circumstances in which I placed myself into, I try not to stress about the result too much. I would say I'm very fortunate to have gotten to a point in Pokemon where I can say that, because a lot of it is kind of backed by like all of that. Because I would say you can kind of fortunately say you've done enough. Anything else is kind of gravy points. Like I'm very fortunate to have said like I have won every single tournament that you can possibly win, besides a Grand Challenge. But for the most part, I have won almost every possible tournament you can win. So I've been up the mountain, I've been down. And now I would say I put a lot of pressure and self-expectation on myself to do very well when I was younger. Now while I'm playing Pokemon, I just want to enjoy myself. Like I just want to play the game, have fun with my friends if I'm traveling. Because I'm not sure like how long I'm going to be able to do it. So just being able to enjoy myself, enjoy the tournament is important. And I think part of enjoying the tournament is not being frustrated when you lose, not being frustrated when you do well, and just enjoying yourself, enjoying the game. So, like, enjoying playing the game is important, and generally my teams try to focus on myself enjoying playing the game rather than, like, winning the tournament. But generally, as fate seems to prove, generally when I'm enjoying playing the tournament, that's when I'm at my scariest. When I actually like playing Pokemon, that seems to be when something up here clicks. But like I don't want to say it's like not caring, but like I definitely try to tell myself like regardless of the outcome, like I enjoyed what I did. And that generally I would say it's a lot more uninhibiting. Like I would say you don't really I would say like you just kind of get to do whatever you want. So like especially going into this year's Worlds, the night of, like, when I locked the box, I was like, all right, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with whatever outcome I wake up to tomorrow, because if I go 0-3, then I just get to enjoy the World Championships and hang out with all my friends. One of them will probably do well, and I get to support them and watch their run go far. I was very lucky to be on the other end of that, where I got a very deep run. I got to have all my friends support me. And, like, obviously there's a lot of expectation to do well because there's so many people that you love and care about. Like, they want you to win. They want you to do well. I would say, again, I'm very fortunate to have won the World Championships already. So, like, and I would say this was something I kind of had to learn when I was younger, but people are just happy to see you do well. And it was very, like, nice to have a friend in GO in finals as well, because I knew regardless of the outcome, whether or not it was someone I didn't know who I was playing or someone I didn't know, I was going to be very happy with the result anyways. And generally, I think as well, not like this, again, not caring, but like more of like a nonchalant, cool guy energy mentality. Just like, you know, it happens. Like, but generally I tend to find that like, it's really good for learning afterwards. You really realize what you were doing right because you weren't focused on what you were doing wrong. I like oftentimes like when I have a very bad headspace after tournament, or like it's a very unlucky tournament run, and like I'm very focused on I'm very result driven in that case. It's very easy to focus on like what you did wrong, how unlucky you were, or like just like it was a bad day, kind of thing. But I feel like when I don't care as much, like generally I kind of brush it off a lot easier. And again, that was kind of something that I was fully ready to do in case I didn't do well, because I wasn't expecting to do well. But generally it comes sometime before falling asleep, but not like before 12 a.m. Like,
bro, so people out there listening, don't build your teams at 3 a.m. unless you want to get like
unless you want to win
14th at UIC or second at the World Championships.
I'm just gonna do
or,
it,
like,
and then they're gonna be like, dude, I can't focus.
Yeah.
Like, I need sleep, and I'm like,
bro, I want to call you out for something though, because you're saying like more like this. Sorry, this is like we're all friends here, but I always feel
Yeah.
like when you're on the podcast, it's like let's call it James Evans. But you're talking about being nonchalant, and I want to call that out because as much as you were like, let's play good Pokemon, I want to talk about the emotions you get later on in the day because you win your top 4,
Okay,
you're
yeah.
on to finals, and like there's nothing nonchalant about it. You were very calm and chill, but like you can see how much it meant to you, and I want to talk
yeah.
about that moment because like you've now from not knowing what to play into the tournament to making peace if you owe 3 so you can hang out with your friends to all of a sudden finding yourself in the finals of the biggest like the most stacked world championships, knowing that you're going to be playing in an arena. Like I want to know exactly what's going through your mind at that point because that is a crazy place to end up, especially from where like you started.
Yeah. But I would say because like it was really really surreal. Like I would say because like I want to say I didn't care because like when I got the top cut, I was going around. I was just like, yeah, like it was just like one of those things where like I was hugging everyone. I was crying. Like I played through top 16 and like I popped off super hard on my top 16. I think I literally like streamed. I don't remember. It's been like I was. It's kind of a blur in my head. But like top 8 as well. I was like super leaned in. Like I was very focused. And after the set, I was like hugging people. I was crying. Like it didn't feel real. So like when I got the top 4, there's like kind of this expectation I built where it's like once you get the top 4, you can kind of win the whole event. Or if you lose, it's whatever. Like I already got the trophy. Everyone like I would say the big like kind of picture goal was like get one more Pikachu trophy and then I'm good. Whatever I do from here on out, I don't care. I've already proven to myself that I'm one of the best to ever do. 2 Pikachu trophies. And that's a lot more. I would say that's usually one more than what most people have if they do have one, if they're fortunate enough to have one. So I was like, one more, and like no matter what, I will always be happy with what I do. When I got the top 4, and generally like especially even at regionals or internets, you I would say I have this weird expectation that I'm gonna lose. Doesn't matter when or where. I just kind of like, okay, if I lose here, whatever. And then I won, and then I was like, oh, okay. Like, I would say, it's weird. Like, I kind of, like, I would say, going into it, like, I knew, like, obviously it's finals, it's a very big thing. But, like, after the top 4 match, it kind of didn't register for, like, a minute. Like, I was sitting there in my chair, I was like, okay, wait, I'm in Worlds Finals. Like, what is happening? Because, like, I was like, again, I was kind of expecting to lose. Like, no matter, no matter what, I was like, okay, something unlucky usually happens, or like something happens that gets in my way. And like I end up losing the match, but like I was gonna be happy regardless. But like honestly, it was just like it was so much to process because like I don't think in a million years I ever expected to like be in top 8 of Worlds, much less top 4, much less finals again. And it was just like one of those things where like. I think literally after the match, like I had to sit down for like a minute behind stage because like I just didn't know how to like process it. It's such a weird thing to say. Like I would say, because at this point I would say I'm a grown ass man. Like I'm 22. I would say encountering like new things that you really don't know how to comprehend emotionally are very weird as an adult. But it was like one of those things where like I have to sit down and process this because there's no way that this is not like a dream. Like it's too surreal. Like it's weird. Like but like that's how it felt like at first. Like I literally when Gabby was like, "How does it feel to make Worlds Finals?" I'm sitting there. I'm like, like I just didn't know. Like I didn't know how to feel. But it was just like one of those things where I was just like, holy crap, like I never expected this again. I would say like again, you mentioned like I was a lot more reserved than like how I normally am. And like I mentioned before, it wasn't that way leading up to like top 4. Like I was very much like emotionally a wreck like whenever I won a match because I was like, I'm moving further into the world championship. The math is not mathing here. Like what is happening? So it was just like one of those things where like, especially with this team, with this meta game, I never expected to like go that deep. So like when they were like, all right, you're gonna go backstage, you're gonna like take a photo, and you're gonna do like this whole interview thing, and like go on stage in an arena. Here's your paper that describes what the arena is like. Better start picking 2 people to bring to the arena. The arena that you're gonna be in tomorrow on Sunday. It was kind of just like, okay, like just take it in. Like what? Like I was say, being on the stage the next day, I was like, I apologize. It's so hard to describe it because like I don't know how to describe it. Like I mentioned before, like the event still kind of feels surreal. Like I don't. The part of me that kind of still doesn't believe it happened, even though like it's there, the trophy's right there. I brought all the things home. Like I can see them; they're permeable. Like I can hold them.
I know I was the one who had to pack it all at the airport.
We could talk about that too. That was a fun thing to do, pack everything. But it's still one of those things where like I feel like, and part of me kind of feels better that I feel this way about it. It still feels like a dream. All of it, like just being able to be there, and like the arena itself. Like some people would probably be like, sitting in front of like 5,000 people having to play Pokemon, and then like probably like 6 digits amount of people on the live stream worldwide watching you. Like how does that not get stressful? Honestly, it was just like one of those things where like I've been here so many times, and like as funny as it's part of the job. And like win or lose, like I wasn't gonna be too bothered about it. Like again, like you mentioned, I was just kind of I was like, all right, let's play good Pokemon. Like I was very dialed in on just like enjoying playing the game, because I was like, how many people get to play it in front of like an arena full of people against your friend? Like obviously, like it still doesn't feel real. But I would say like I couldn't sleep the night before, if that makes any of this seem like, oh, it's like kind of really cool, but it was like, no, I'm still stressed. Like there's still like that underlying like it's like that one image where it's like the night before and it's like the 2 guys in their bed. But it was like the night before Worlds Finals, except Brady and Joe were sleeping just fine, and like I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, the guy had to play tomorrow. But no, it was just super. Like I would say, part of me still trying to like unravel like every part of how I feel about it, because like it did feel really cathartic just to be back at Worlds Finals, regardless of whether or not I won or lost. But like it kind of gave me this underlying feeling as well, where I'm like, I don't feel like what I'm doing is like supposed to be like the final result. Like I think a lot of people, like after they get up on the world stage and lose, and most times in general, like I kind of knew going into the matchup, like it was very tough, and I knew regardless of whether or not I win or lose, I'm going to be very happy with my result. But it was one of those things where like I lost, and I didn't feel like I lost afterwards. It was like one of those things where like I'm not bothered, I'm not embarrassed, I'm not frustrated, and I'm not anything. Like I played the way I played. I have no regrets about it. Like I did everything that I did based on what I expected to happen, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. And like getting off the stage, I kind of was like, I don't think I'm done here. Like like next time, like I next time I'll make the better calls, I'll make the better plays, and maybe next time I'll win the tournament. Like I would say, it kind of reminded me a lot of Knoxville, funnily enough, where like I got smacked by Toller in finals, and I got off the stage, and people were like, sorry that happens. I was like, it's fine next time. Like, it was kind of one of those things where like it went from like super stressed to like kind of clarity, and then afterwards all I could be was just like happy. Like it was one of those things where like you just take it in, and it feels like a dream. Although I will say, when they called me out to go on the stage, and like I'm just sitting there, my hands in my pockets, and I'm like, oh wow, this is so cool. It was so hard not to just go like, oh, this is so cool. Like I was saying, it's so hard not to geek out, because like I would say I love Pokemon. As stupid as that sounds to say on like a Pokemon podcast, yeah, I actually really like Pokemon. Just like fundamentally, I love collecting stuff. I love talking about the games. I love playing the games. I've literally played like through all of Pokemon Emerald again a week ago. But I just love Pokemon, and being part of it in any way, being able to etch your name in history, regardless of whether or not you win or lose in the finals, is just so cool. I got to be a part of the first stadium that they ever did for this game. And it was just like awesome. I'm like, all right, now I want to do it again. Like,
No, I just want to know, because I've been dying to ask you for like a month at this point now. Just if you have a quick answer before we get to our question of the week.
Yeah.
That game too, I'm not going to lie to you, James. The whole arena thought it was over. Like, everybody thought, okay, Gio's about to win Worlds.
Except for Joe and Brady. They knew. They knew.
And so, in a quick answer here, that was a very impressive way to come back and force a game 3. How did you win that game?
I don't know. I literally don't know. I was sitting there because I think at one point I probably, oh God, I don't remember. I want to say I did it though. I like turned back, like, because what is it, like, where I was in the stadium, like Joe, Brady, and like Kylie and Kareem, like all my friends, they were, I want to say like to like our right, like behind us to the right. So like Gio had like a pretty like clear line of sight over to them, but like I had to turn around. So like I think at one point like both my restricted get slept. I think I just turn around and like I just go like I think this is cooked, guys. Like it obviously it was one of those things where like I kind of just figured all right, if I wake up, maybe the game continues. I think I think I only knew that like it was winnable when Gio swapped in the Flurman, because I was playing to knock off the Koraidon's Life Orb. I was just like, I need this guy not to like blow up my spot. Like, I need something to be able to live a close combat here, because Koraidon stays on the board, at least my Koraidon, I'm gonna need it to like not die instantly. So like I was like, all right, just knock off into that, because like I don't really have another option. Like, I can knock off the Brute Bonnet, but like I already have done everything I need to do on that end. So like him swapping the Fluttermane and letting me take the knockout because he also needs to get the sun back up, I was like, oh, this is winnable now. Especially when he Rage Powdered, I instantly clocked. I was like, all right, this spot, the game's over. Like, I win this now. And I was like, I don't know how I won this. Like, because I was like, all right, just encore and attack, because like all you need to do is get the Koraidon to get knocked out now. Like, as long as it dies, like it's game over. Obviously it's kind of, I apologize. It's such a world. I haven't watched back the finals either. I would say it's still like one of those things where I'm like, all right, let it be surreal. Like, don't think about it too much. Just like accept and enjoy it. Also because the gym leader theme is the main battle theme for like the finals, and like I just want to go on record and say I didn't pick that. I picked Nimona too every game. So like,
good choice.
I would say it wasn't me, guys, because I apparently I was getting flack for that. People were like, "Who picks this song in Worlds Finals?" And I was like, "I didn't pick it, guys." Like, but it was like, obviously, yeah, that whole set is still like just a blur in my head. But like, namely, game 2, people were like, "That was an awesome game 2, man. Amazing play." I'm like, I have no clue what I did. Like, I just kind of let Jesus take the wheel. Like, I was just like, all right, if I wake up and put this and this here and that there. But like, I apologize. It's such a horrible answer. Like,
No,
I don't know. I just
No?
won it.
That's good.
I would say sometimes my instinct takes over, I think, especially when I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, sometimes I'll make plays that just like I don't exactly like agree with up here. Like in top 8, I did that where I was like, I like helping hand Astral Barrage into like Kosukide's Lunala and Miraidon, and I was like, can you just wide guard? Wide guard every time. And it worked, and I killed the Lunala, and I almost killed the Miraidon, and like won the game instantly. I was like, that was a dumb play. Like, that shouldn't have ever won. Why did you do that? Like, at least for mine, I was like, why did that work? Like, how did I make such an awful play and it worked out? But sometimes the gut knows better than the brain. And like I would say, that's kind of what I was going off of game 2, where I was just like, you're so far behind already. You might as well just wait. If you wake up, and then pivot out, start playing defensive. Like, play the game like as if you're basically not asleep at all. And that fortunately worked out. So, what is it? I think our set was really good, me and Gio. Like, I think people were coming up to us and telling us, like, it was the best Masters Worlds Finals they've ever seen. And, like, I was super happy with that. Like, I was very happy if I would say, regardless, again, win or lose, I was going to be very happy. But I was very happy I didn't lose in a blowout, like, just get, like, smacked 2-0. I'm very happy that I put on a show. And, like, what I played was, like, a very good set of Pokemon. All things good. Like, I mean, it was going to be good no matter what, but, like, it was close. You got to make it close.
You got the game 3, you got the drama, you got all of it there. And
exactly.
Okay. Joe Brown, I know you have work. I'm asking if I could forego the question of the week to ask James one last question.
One last quick answer, James.
Because Joe Brown's got work, but
Okay.
I gotta know because you talk about getting your second trophy, and we'll do 2 questions of the week next week for anyone else. But I feel like this question's more important. But obviously, your first trophy, your Worlds win back in 2018 as a senior, was the first trophy. That is like the first, like that is the big win, right? This is now 7 years later, you getting another trophy to showcase that in Masters in the Most Stacked Worlds, after everything you've done, you still have what it takes to be on that Worlds final stage. I want to know, like, if you're looking at it, if like this meant more than that first win, or like where kind of you see these victories.
So, obviously, this is actually a really good question because, like, people were asking me after the event, and they were like, if you won this event, would it have meant more than 2018? I was like, not even if I won, no. That is always the most important event, like, probably in my entire life. It's not my favorite event I've won, but it is the most important. So I give it the respect that it deserves. I'm like, this will always be my pinned tweet. Like, I would say, people will, like, always joke, like, oh, you can change your pinned tweet now to, like, whatever new result. I'm like, no, it's always 2018 Worlds. That's the most important event. That's how you get all of this. And, like, that's what I say. I'm like, you don't get second place at Worlds without that one. You don't get an NAIC win. You don't get a Vancouver win. You don't get any of this, regardless of the results. Like, I don't think I would have had the drive to continue afterward. Even if I got second, like, I don't think any of this would have played out the way it did had I not won that event. So, like, to me, it's always the most, like, important one. So, like, I think and, like, people have also asked me, like, if you had to pick one of them to win, like, if you could pick one and then win the other, like, pick one to win and then, like, you lose finals of the other, like, it would still be this way again. The best way I think I phrased it, like, especially when I was 15, I put a lot of expectations on myself. I was very hyper competitive. I am still a little competitive, but, like, in a lot healthier sense. Like, for that year's Worlds, I was, like, staying up every night, which is not, obviously, that hasn't really changed much, but I would say it was a lot unhealthier. I was, like, grinding Showdown. I was just, like, watching VODs. I was replaying everything. I was just like, how do I win this event? Like, I need to win this event. And, like, that's what the best way to describe it. I was like, when I was a kid, I really, like, it was much more of a need than a want, unfortunately. That was a very unhealthy decision. And, like, I'm very fortunate that I ended up winning. So many kids probably say, like, I want to win the World Championships, and then I would say, not that falling short is, like, something that's, like, awful. I would say, like, it all happens in different ways for us, but I'm extremely fortunate to be one of the very lucky few to say they've won the World Championships. Especially, like, as a kid, like, I would say, I feel like it matters. It matters always, no matter what, but, like, as a kid, like, that's, like, your whole world. Especially, like, when I was 15, that was my whole world. Like, I didn't do much in high school. Like, so, like, that was the most important thing to me. And, like, obviously growing up, a lot of it has been learning to kind of deprogram that super hyper, like, competitive mentality, stop being so mad when things don't go your way, just enjoying the game, like, regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
So, like, part of that has been, like, again, learning to enjoy the game, and I think this result is what if I argued that, like, winning Worlds as a kid was what I needed, like, then, I think this result is what I needed, like, overall. Like, just a Worlds result with a much healthier mentality that could tell that kid all those years ago, like, there's a different way about going about it, and, like, you'll still be happy at the end of it. I think, like, regardless of whether I won or not, that kid from all those years ago would be very happy with the result. regardless. I would hope he is.
Love
at
that.
least. And it's one of those things where like I'm not bothered by like how it went. I couldn't be any happier than everything that led to getting second place at Worlds. People would argue like, you know, something along the lines of like first to lose or like you didn't win the whole thing. And I would say that's such an easy argument to make when like you're miserable. I guess I don't know how to describe it. Like it's such a negative outlook. It's so lame. But like
I love your outlook on it all though. That it's like, yeah, this is good. So I think that's really healthy. That's good.
I just like to imagine like none of it would have been possible without that first win. I'm incredibly grateful for again having a second opportunity to get to Worlds Finals. And it does feel like one of those things where like now I could rest if I wanted to. Like I've told people before where it's like one more Pikachu trophy and then whatever happens afterwards, I'm good. Like I would be happy with it. But like I literally remember like we were all standing outside and like I'm pretty sure I told Kylie and Brady this like it's a very similar thing where I was like I would really hope if I could talk to the me from 7 years ago that kid would be really happy knowing that it's all gonna be all right regardless of whether we win or lose today. And like I say, like knowing that regardless of how it goes, like and this was something that I will say with full confidence. I don't want to sound like egotistical or brash about like anything I've said earlier where it's like where like I make a stupid play or something like that and like it happens to work out and like I don't want that to make my opponent seem like in a negative light or anything. Or like anything I say here, but like it really was one of those things where like when I started this, I wanted to be the best in the world. I wanted to be the best at something that I do. And part of that is learning that some people are the best in different ways. I'm very fortunate to say I got to be the best player in the world at one format. And then the goal after that was to be one of the best players of all time. Which was like a very big stretch for 15-year-old James because there was a lot of mountain to climb still. But like one of the things that I think has been, you know, that's been the same throughout my life playing is that underlying goal has still kind of continued regardless of whether or not I pay attention to it or not. Every result contributes to it. Everything that like I do, everything that I learned contributes to it. Being one of the best players of all time doesn't exactly, like, I would say, it's not just result specific, it's your mental, it's how you approach it, how other people perceive you, per se, like, how, like, I would say, having friends, enjoying the tournaments with them, things like that, just being a good person to enjoy and be around, and part of that, again, has been to learn that as I grow up, and after this result, I literally remember I was staring at the trophy box, and I was like, I never heard before today anyone ever say that I'm one of the best players of all time. And then when I started going on Twitter after the match, after the ceremony, that's when I immediately recognized I was like, people are starting to say now I'm like one of the best of all time. And like that genuinely made me choke up a bit. That made me tear up because I was like, never in my life, even after winning Worlds, like that was just a dream. And like that might be still why it still feels so surreal. I was like, this is all just like a dream, like to me. Like I never expected any of this, but to be able to say now, like, and like I believe it in full confidence. I play good Pokemon. I'm one of the best players of all time. It still doesn't feel. The best way I could probably phrase it is like I remember when I was a kid, like even before
James,
we
love you.
You're crazy.
James, please just win one of the best in the world. Please win another event this season. Like,
okay,
you have been giving such good answers. Joe Brown does have to go to work, which is the only. No, you're good. But that's the only reason we have to cut it here. I have loved this conversation.
This is a perfect ending. I kept yapping. We got through our nice, like, poetic ending, and then we started all screaming again. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Perfect. But no, for real, thank you so much. Like I said, please just win an event. We'll have you back on. We'll be able to fully discuss this all. It's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast because there's such insightful answers. But Joe Brown has to go to work, so we're gonna wrap this all. we're gonna leave the social links for James in the description. Make sure to say thank you to both of him, and thank you for appearing on this episode, and best of luck to the season and continuing to be one of the best. Joe Brown, good luck at work. And thank you everyone so much for listening in. We'll see you next time for OHKO. Take care, everyone.